Welcome back to Melody Guitar Book 3. This book focuses on reading and playing melodies in standard music notation. You can watch all these videos for free, but it's going to be a lot easier to learn if you have your own copy of Melody Guitar 3 that you can read from and write in. Plus you can help support a music teacher, so I'll leave a link in the description. We're on pages 29 and 30. In Melody Guitar 2, you learned how to play a movable minor pentatonic scale. Now you're going to learn 4 new ways to play minor pentatonic scales, and you're going to learn the names of the notes up and down the 4th and 5th strings. You've already learned there's more than one way to play a chromatic scale, and that's going to hold true for all of your other scales, including your minor pentatonic scales. So we can see here on page 29, we have 5 minor pentatonic scale forms. You already know minor pentatonic scale form 3, we're going to add these 4 others. Your goal is to memorize all of these forms and add them into your warm-up. Now, unless you have a better memory than I do, you're probably not going to be able to memorize all of these at once. What I suggest doing is memorize one form at a time and then just play through the others. Once you're comfortable with that one form that you're memorized, then move on to the next one. Memorize that one. And it doesn't have to be memorized in a certain order. Memorize whichever is easy to memorize. Just go for the low-hanging fruit and then memorize the others later. You're also going to need to know the names of the notes on strings 4 and 5 so you can name your starting note, and we're going to get into that in just a minute, but first let's look at these forms. Number 44, minor pentatonic scale form 1, begins on the 4th string, and you play 1-4, 1-3, shift to your right and play 1-3, and then 1-3 again, then play back the other way to 1, 3-1, shift to your left and play 3-1, and then 4-1. And this is a movable form, all of these are. So I started on the 5th fret, that happens to be a G. You could start on the 7th fret, happens to be an A. So make sure you practice these in different areas of the fretboard. Minor pentatonic scale form 2 begins on the 5th string with your 4th finger. Start on finger 4 and immediately move to the next string to play 2-4, 1-4, shift to your right 1 fret and play 1-4, then 1-3, back to 1, 4-1, shift back to your left, play 4-1, 4-2, and 4. And of course, you can play that in different areas of the fretboard as well. By now, you should be pretty familiar with minor pentatonic scale form 3. It starts on the 6th string with your 1st finger. 1-4, 1-3, 1-3, 1-3, 1-4, 1-4, and back to 1, 4-1, 3-1, 3-1, 3-1, 4-1. Minor pentatonic scale form 4 begins on the 5th string with your 1st finger. Start anywhere on the fretboard. I'm just going to start this on the 5th fret. 1-4, 1-3, 1-3, 2-4, 1-4, and back to 1, 4-2, 3-1, 3-1, 4-1. And minor pentatonic scale form 5 begins on the 6th string with your 4th finger. Start anywhere in the fretboard you like. I'm going to start at the 7th fret, play finger 4, and then right to the next string, 2-4, 1 4, 1 4, 2 4, 2 4, back to 2, 4 2, 4 1, 4 1, 4 2, and 4. Now that you're learning some scale forms that begin on strings 4 and 5, you need to be able to name the notes on strings 4 and 5 up and down the strings so you can name your starting notes for your scales. If you've studied Melody Guitar Book 2, you should already know the notes up and down the 6th string. The same principles will apply for learning the notes on the 4th and 5th strings. Your natural notes will always be 2 frets away from each other, except for your E and your F, which are always going to be 1 fret away from each other, and your B and your C, which are also going to be 1 fret away from each other. And then you fill in the gaps with your sharps and flats. Let's start by reviewing the 6th string. Your 6th string open is your E, 1 fret away from that is your F, 2 frets away from that is your G. The musical alphabet starts over again after G, so 2 frets after your G is your A, 2 frets away from your A is your B, B and C always next to each other, D will be 2 frets away from C, and then at the 12th fret we have another E, an octave higher than your open string. Your 12th fret is always going to be an octave higher than your open string. Now let's take a look at the 5th string. Your open 5th string is A, that's a natural note. 2 frets away from that will be your B, so 1, 2, 2nd fret is your B. 1 fret away from B is C. 2 frets away from that will be your D at the 5th fret. 2 frets away again will be your E. E and F are always next to each other, so F will be at the 8th fret. 2 frets away from that is your G. Then the musical alphabet starts over again at A, so at your 12th fret is another A, an octave higher than your open A. And now the 4th string. Open 4th string is D. 2 frets away from D will be E, so that'll be the 2nd fret. E and F always next to each other, so F will be the 3rd fret. 2 frets away from that will be your G. Musical alphabet starts over again after G, so 2 frets away from that is an A at the 7th fret. 2 frets away from that is your B. B and C always next to each other, so C will be at the 10th fret, and then 2 frets higher than that at the 12th fret will be another D, an octave higher than your open D. And then you fill in the gaps with your sharps and flats. Let's take a look at some sharps you could find on the 4th string. If this is my D, 1 fret higher will be D sharp. Then there's our E and our F. Technically, F is E sharp. We're not going to deal with that right now, though. So there's our F at the 3rd fret. 1 fret higher is your F sharp. There's our G. 1 fret higher is G sharp. There's our A. It's the 7th fret. 1 fret higher would be A sharp. Then our B. Then there's our C next to our B. Again, technically, B sharp is C. We're not really going to get into that at this point. There's our C at the 10th fret. 1 fret higher would be C sharp. And let's look at how we can fill in the gaps with flats on the 5th string. We're going to start at the 12th fret A. 1 fret to the left of that would be your A flat. And then your G at the 10th fret. 1 fret lower than your G would be G flat. And then your F at the 8th fret. Then an E. Technically, F flat and E are the same note, but we're not going to get into that at this point. Here's our E. 1 fret to the left is E flat. D. D flat at the 4th fret. There's our C at the 3rd fret. C and B are always next to each other, so technically C flat and B are the same note. And then there's our B at the 2nd fret. 1st fret would be B flat. As you get familiar with these scale forms, make sure you memorize the notes on the 4th and 5th strings as well, and name your starting notes when you play your scales. Your assignment is to gradually start memorizing all 5 minor pentatonic scale forms as well as the notes up and down the 4th and 5th strings. Don't forget to order your own copy of Melody Guitar Book 3. I'll leave a link for that in the description. This is more of a lifelong assignment, so go ahead and move right on to page 31. You're going to learn 5 ways to play a blues scale.